You see, the funny thing about people, they always think they've figured you out. They measure you by fragments, by whispers, by what you let them see. And then they label you, stamp you, file you under not important, not impressive, not enough. That's their favorite part. The underestimation. It makes them feel big, right? Like if they shrink you in their mind, they can stay kings of their tiny, crumbling castles. They love believing you're beneath them. You who gave more than they ever deserved. You who stayed silent while they laughed. You who waited while they threw dirt on your name and called it truth. But here's the real joke, kid. They don't know you. Not really. Not what's buried underneath. Not the chaos you've survived. Not the battles you fought alone at 2 a.m. when nobody cared if you lived or broke. They see your calm as weakness, your kindness as naivety, your silence as surrender. But oh, they're so wrong, so beautifully, painfully wrong, because you're not done. You're loading, quietly, relentlessly. You're building in the shadows, behind the scenes where they think nothing happens. And every time they laugh, every time they doubt, every time they talk like you're nothing, they're stacking bricks in the wall that's gonna crush their ego. They're writing the script for their own regret. But let them keep laughing. You don't need to shout. You don't need to warn. You don't need to prove. You just need to be patient. Because when it comes, when that silent storm you've been cooking finally hits, it's gonna shake every floor they ever stood on. And the silence they once mocked, that silence will haunt them. You know why they underestimated you? Because you weren't playing their game. You weren't desperate to be seen. You weren't crawling for crumbs. You weren't screaming, "Look at me," like some hollow fool. Nah, you were too busy becoming quietly, day by day, pain by pain. And trust me, that makes them nervous. People fear what they don't understand, and they hate what they can't control. And you can't be controlled anymore. Not by their opinions, not by their gossip, not by their absence. You stopped needing their validation, and that makes you dangerous. That makes you a threat. That makes you real. But I get it. You're tired. Tired of giving more than you receive. Tired of people treating you like a temporary option while you treated them like forever. Tired of pretending it doesn't hurt. You gave loyalty like it was air, and they choked on it. You offered truth, and they ran from it. You loved deeply, and they used that depth to drown you. They saw your heart as an opportunity, not a gift. And now they sit comfortably thinking you'll never rise, thinking you'll stay broken, thinking you'll always be the fool they took for granted. But that's the beautiful part about pain. It teaches you how to move different. You stop chasing. You stop explaining. You stop trying to be enough for people who were never enough for themselves. Let them regret. Let it sink in. Slow. The weight of what they lost. the value they overlooked, the realness they couldn't handle. It'll hit them in waves when life gets cold and their fake circles fall apart, when they're surrounded by noise but starved for meaning. That's when your absence will scream louder than your presence ever did. And by then, it'll be too late. They'll remember how you cared, how you showed up, how you believed in them when even they didn't. And that guilt, that regret, it'll sting deeper than any revenge you could plan. That's the real payback. Your growth, your silence, your success. Not the kind that shouts, not the kind that posts, but the kind that humbles. That shakes their world just by existing. So no, you don't need to scream. You don't need to fight for recognition. You don't need to explain your worth to people who see with blind eyes. You just need to keep walking, head down, heart strong. Let your pain shape you, not shatter you. Let your silence be your sword. And let them keep guessing. Because the moment they realize what they lost, it won't be a scene. It won't be fireworks. It'll be quiet. It'll be late. It'll be real. And that's when they'll wish they never played with someone who was never bluffing. You ever notice how the ones who laugh the loudest are always the ones with the weakest backbone? They mock what they don't understand. They target the quiet one, the consistent one, the real one, because that's the one who threatens their illusions. You didn't beg. You didn't crawl. You didn't fake it. You didn't plaster your worth all over their screens, hoping they'd approve. And for that, they called you boring, predictable, weak. But deep down, they saw something they couldn't stand. Integrity. Something they gave up on long ago. You stayed solid in a world that rewards the fake. You kept it real in a time where clout chasers are called kings. And that's exactly why they tried to bury you. Because you were a mirror. And mirrors make liars uncomfortable. Every time you showed up with your heart open, your soul raw, and your words honest, you reminded them what they're not. That's why they backed away. Not because you were wrong, but because you were too right. And now, they'll learn the hard way. Oh yes, regret is a slow knife, and it cuts deep when there's no bandage big enough to cover the wound. They'll remember you when the noise fades, when the thrill dies, when the crowd's gone and the masks fall. That's when your name will hit them like a train. That's when your silence will echo in rooms they once filled with lies. That's when the guilt will eat at them bit by bit. But don't you dare wait for it. Don't you dare hope for their apology, their comeback, their sudden realization. Nah. You're done playing that role. You're not the emotional crutch anymore. You're not the safety net. You're not the person they can run back to when the world gets cold. You gave them a chance. You gave them presence. You gave them loyalty. And they mistook it for weakness. Let them live with that. That's their hell to carry, not yours. Because now, it's your time. And no, I don't mean your time to scream and shove your success in their face. That's too easy. That's childish. I mean your time to transform quietly, brutally, purposefully, to become so powerful, so centered, so unfazed that their opinions don't even register, to rebuild your peace like a fortress and lock the gates, to make your goals so sharp they cut through every memory of betrayal. Because that's how you win. Not by proving them wrong with words, but by making sure they can never reach your level again. You rise so far above their world, their noise, their drama, that they can't even breathe in your atmosphere. That's real power. That's the revenge that doesn't look like revenge. It looks like peace, purpose, and success they can't touch. And trust me, one day they'll sit there, scrolling through fake connections, wondering why nothing feels real, wondering why the ones who shout the loudest give them the least, wondering why they feel empty, and your name, your face, your silence will haunt them, not because you tried to haunt them, but because their soul knows it messed up. It threw away something priceless for something shiny. It gambled loyalty for attention. It betrayed what was solid for what was easy. And the universe always returns what you give. They gave you pain. You turned it into power. They gave you silence. You turned it into strategy. They gave you absence. You turned it into self-mastery. That's how it works. That's how legends are born. Not through applause, but through rejection. So take all that pain, all that heartbreak, all that confusion, and weaponize it. Sharpen it like a blade. Let it guide your discipline. Let it fuel your transformation. Let it remind you what happens when you give your all to people who don't deserve half. You owe them nothing now. Not a call, not an update, not an explanation. Just let your absence scream what your words no longer need to say. You were never the problem. They were just too blind to see the gift in front of them. And by the time they open their eyes, you'll be gone. Not bitter, not broken. Just better, quiet, focused, unreachable. They're going to feel it, you know. Not now, not next week. But when it's quiet, when the lights are off, when the fake people vanish like smoke, and there's no applause left to feed their ego, that's when it hits. That's when reality punches them in the throat. And they'll replay it, your loyalty, your silence, your sacrifice, frame by frame. That's the curse of underestimating someone real. The regret doesn't just come once. It comes in cycles. It shows up in songs, in dreams, in places they go hoping to forget. It haunts them in people who'll never love them like you did, who'll never be half as present, half as real. And you won't even need to lift a finger. That's the justice in this whole twisted game. Karma doesn't need your help. It knows their address. It knows their lies. It knows what they did when you weren't around. And it delivers, slow and cold. But here's the hard truth you need to swallow. You're not going back. Not even if they beg. Not even if they cry. You're not the same person they played with. You've seen too much. You've grown too much. You've been through the kind of pain that rewires your soul. The kind of nights that force you to build a new version of yourself just to survive the silence. You're not the loyal fool anymore. You're not the one who waits, who hopes, who believes people will suddenly turn honest. You're the aftermath. You're the result of betrayal turned discipline. You're what happens when a real one stops explaining, stops chasing, stops breaking for people who never even bent for you. And it's not out of hate. No, hate's too loud, too emotional. You moved on with something colder, something sharper. Clarity. And clarity doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It just walks away and never looks back. You were the one who showed up when they were broken. The one who asked how they felt when no one else noticed. The one who carried their weight while drowning in your own. And they threw that away like it meant nothing. Like you meant nothing. All because they couldn't recognize value unless it came with a price tag or attention. And that's the tragedy. They'll keep searching for something that felt like you, but they'll never find it. Because what you gave was rare, built from scars and honesty and patience. And it can't be replaced by quick dopamine and surface level praise. Let them chase the noise. Let them pretend they're happy. You've got a different path now. One where peace is more important than presence. Where silence is stronger than shouting. Where the goal isn't to be liked, it's to be free. They'll look for you when the fakes fall away. When they realize people love the image, not the soul. When they finally understand what it means to be truly seen, truly understood, and realize you were the only one who ever did that for them. But you'll be gone. You'll be building, rising, surrounded by new energy, new focus. Not because you wanted revenge, but because you wanted peace. And peace doesn't live where you were disrespected. It doesn't grow where you were doubted. You had to leave. You had to disappear. Not to punish them, but to heal you. Let them talk. Let them twist the story. Let them paint you as the villain. The world always demonizes what it can't control. Let them create whatever fiction helps them sleep at night. You don't need to defend your truth. You lived it. You bled for it. You sacrificed for it. And if they couldn't see it then, they don't deserve to see you now. Keep moving. Keep leveling up. Because every step you take in silence, that's a scream they'll hear in their head forever. A reminder of what they had, what they lost, and what they'll never get back again. You know what the real punishment is for people like them? It's not losing you. It's realizing too late who you really were. It's not about the texts you didn't reply to or the calls you didn't make. Nah, that's child's play. The real punishment is waking up one day and feeling the absence of everything they never appreciated. It's when they're surrounded by people who only care when it's convenient. It's when they try to share a piece of their soul. and realize nobody's listening. Nobody sees them, not the way you did. And that's when your silence becomes a mirror. It reflects back everything they threw away. Every bit of love, loyalty, and peace you handed them with open palms, and they crushed it like it was worthless. That memory, it'll burn, not once, but forever. In traffic, in bed, in conversations where your name isn't mentioned, but your presence is felt. And maybe right now, they're laughing, living, acting like it never mattered. But that's surface level. That's the fake mask they wear to convince themselves they made the right choice. They didn't, and they know it. Somewhere deep in that hollow chest of theirs, they know they traded gold for dust. They know they picked temporary attention over eternal substance. And the weight of that decision doesn't hit in public. It hits when they're alone, when the mask slips, when they scroll through memories trying to feel something real, and all they find is the silence you left behind. That's when they'll realize you weren't just another chapter. You were the whole damn book. The story that kept them sane. The calm in their chaos. The truth in their world of lies. But you don't wait for that moment. You don't stick around for their realization. You're not a lesson on standby. You're not their redemption arc. You're not the safety net they can fall into when life shows them what real pain feels like. You walked away, not because you stopped caring, but because they did. You gave chances. You stayed longer than you should have. You believed in their potential more than they did. But potential without action is just fantasy. And you're done babysitting fantasies. You're building reality now. One where your peace isn't up for negotiation. One where your energy isn't wasted trying to convince people to see what's already obvious. You're too valuable to beg, too rare to chase, too powerful to be ignored. And when you finally accept that, everything changes. You stop shrinking yourself to fit their comfort zones. You stop making excuses for their disrespect. You stop confusing loyalty with self-destruction. And that's when your glow returns. That's when the fire reignites. That's when your silence becomes the loudest message you'll ever send. It says, I'm done explaining. I'm done proving. I'm done bleeding for people who wouldn't lift a finger if I was drowning. And that shift, it's violent. Not in noise, but in effect. People start feeling it. They start questioning. They start regretting. But by then, you're gone. Not just physically, but spiritually, mentally, emotionally. You've leveled up into a version of yourself that doesn't have room for their shadows. You've evolved into someone who finally knows their worth and refuses to let anyone make them forget it again. And no matter how many times they come back with, I miss you, or I didn't realize, you won't flinch. Because when someone really sees your worth, they don't need to lose you to understand it. They protect it. They nurture it, they match it. So don't settle for apologies painted in guilt. Don't settle for half-love dressed up in desperation. Let them feel your absence. Let them drown in the silence they forced you into. Because now, it's not about them anymore. It's about you. And what you're building now, it's sacred. It's earned. It's real. And they don't get a ticket back. And just because the world finally showed them your value, let them stay out there. Let them live with the echo. Because that echo, that's you. And you're louder than ever without saying a single word. You ever notice how they only start paying attention when you've gone quiet? When you stop trying. When you stop explaining yourself. Stop justifying your worth. Stop reaching out with hands that always came back empty. That silence, it drives them insane. Not because they care about you suddenly, but because they lost the control, the comfort, the ego boost. They miss the way you used to care too much, the way you answered even when they gave you crumbs, the way you waited for them, forgave them, gave them 1,000 chances they never earned. They miss the version of you that tolerated their selfishness. That version's dead now. And they feel that. They feel the shift. They feel the void. But they'll never admit it. Their pride won't let them. They'll act unbothered, like they never cared. That's their performance, their last trick. But behind the curtain, they're crumbling. They're checking your silence like it's a clock ticking down to their regret. Because the moment you went cold was the moment they realized you were serious, that you weren't bluffing, that the one who used to beg now walks away without a word. That's the scariest version of you they'll ever meet. Not the one who shouts, not the one who cries, but the one who disappears quietly, cleanly, without revenge, without warning. That's the version they underestimated. And now, it's haunting them. Because now they're surrounded by people who only mirror their emptiness. No depth, no soul, no substance, just noise. But you were the difference. You were the gravity, the one who stayed solid when everything around them was fake. And now that you're gone, they're lost. But they'll never say it out loud. They'll never admit how badly they miss the way you loved them, because that would mean confessing they destroyed the one person who actually gave a damn. And I know what you're thinking, that maybe one day they'll wake up and finally apologize, that maybe they'll change, that maybe the pain you're feeling will be worth it in the end. But here's the hard truth. Some people only come back when they need something. Not because they respect you, not because they've grown, but because life humbled them. And you're just a warm memory they want to crawl back into now that their world's gone cold. Don't fall for it. Growth doesn't beg its way back into the same fire it barely escaped. Growth doesn't reopen doors it had to burn just to survive. So when they come knocking, let the silence answer. not out of spite, but out of self-respect. You've earned your peace now. You've paid for it in blood and patience. Don't trade it back for guilt or nostalgia. That's not strength. That's self-sabotage. You see, regret isn't loud. It's not always a dramatic apology or a grand gesture. Most of the time, it's quiet. It's the look on their face when they see you thriving without them. It's the hesitation in their voice when they try to speak your name. It's the pause in their scroll when your face pops up and they remember what they did. That's the echo you leave behind. A quiet storm, one that whispers, you had your chance. And the best part? You never had to destroy them. They did it to themselves. You just walked away. You just let them feel what it's like to live without the one person who saw them for who they really were and stayed. That's the kind of absence that cuts deeper than hate. Because it doesn't scream, it doesn't warn, it just leaves and never looks back. So let them regret. Let them choke on the silence. Let your success be the background music to their self-inflicted guilt. But you, keep going, keep healing, keep building. You don't need closure from people who weren't strong enough to face your truth. You don't need an apology from someone who only learned your value in your absence. And you sure as hell don't need to prove anything to people who couldn't even handle your presence. You were never too much. They were just too little. And now they know. Now they feel it. And now it's too late. And here's the thing nobody tells you. Being underestimated is a gift, a brutal one. A gift that feels like betrayal when you're in it, but becomes your greatest weapon once you rise. Because while they were busy laughing, doubting, brushing you off, like you were forgettable, you were becoming, you were learning, sharpening, hardening. And when you carry pain that deep, you don't need motivation. You carry fire in your chest every time you remember how they looked at you like you were ordinary, like you didn't matter, like you were disposable. But you weren't. You were the realest one in the room. The one who didn't need to fake a smile, didn't need a crowd to feel valuable, didn't need a performance to be seen. But they didn't want real. Real exposes lies. Real makes people nervous. So they pushed you aside and praised the loudest voice, the prettiest face, the most convenient story. But real doesn't stay hidden forever. Real doesn't disappear. Real just waits. And when it returns, it doesn't ask for a seat at the table. It builds a new table and leaves them off the guest list. You didn't lose them. They lost you. Let that sink in. Let it burn through the doubt. You were the anchor, the balance, the calm before their chaos. You didn't just love them, you carried them. And they thought they could replace that with someone else. Let them try. Let them chase that illusion while you keep building your empire in silence. Because this time, you're not explaining. You're not slowing down. You're not playing small so they can feel big. You've seen what happens when you lower yourself just to be understood by people who never even tried to understand you. Never again? And yeah, maybe you loved them. Maybe you gave them more than you gave yourself. But love without respect is just slow heartbreak. And they disrespected you in the worst way. By pretending you didn't matter. By pretending your effort was expected. By showing up only when it served them. That's not love. That's convenience. And you deserve better than to be somebody's second thought. Somebody's backup plan. Somebody's comfort zone they return to when their ego gets bruised. You're not a hotel they check into when the world gets cold. You're the one who brought warmth into rooms that had none. You're the one who offered depth in a world full of shallow hearts. And now they don't get that anymore. They don't get you anymore. You've outgrown them. That's the truth. As painful as it is, you've leveled up in ways they can't understand. Not because you're arrogant, but because you earned this peace. Every silent tear, every ignored message, every broken promise. You turned that into discipline, into vision, into boundaries. And that's what scares them now. Not your silence, not your distance, but the fact that you're okay without them. Thriving, focused, free. That's the loudest revenge. That's the masterpiece. Because while they're stuck in the same loops, repeating the same patterns with different faces, you've become untouchable. Not because you hid, but because you healed. So don't look back. Don't give them another chance to wound you. Don't hand them the knife again just because they say they miss the warmth. That warmth came from your soul, and they didn't protect it when it mattered. Let them live with that loss. Let them wake up every morning knowing they had something rare and let it go. That's the kind of regret that doesn't fade. That's the kind of absence that makes the world feel colder than it ever did before. And you just keep walking. Not out of hate, not out of pride, but because you finally realize your worth and they weren't worthy of it. You want to know what's funny? The moment you stopped talking, they started listening. But it's too damn late now, isn't it? That door doesn't open anymore. Not because you're bitter, but because you've changed the locks. You rebuilt your house, boarded up the windows, and burned the guest list. Because love without loyalty, that's just slow poison. And you drank enough of that already. You let them in. You gave them front row seats to your soul, and they clapped for the wrong parts, laughed when you were bleeding, and left when the lights went out. That kind of betrayal, it's not something you get over. It's something you grow through. And look at you now. You're not the same person they broke. You're something else entirely. Sharper, colder, focused, still breathing, but not for them anymore. That chapter's closed, torn out, buried. And here's what they'll never understand. When you carry pain that deep, it stops being pain. It becomes purpose. It becomes fuel. Every lie they told, every time they made you feel replaceable, every moment they looked right through you like you weren't standing there, heart in hand. You took all that, stacked it, used it. You built something stronger from the ruins they left behind. And now you walk different, talk different, move like a storm with no forecast. Because that's what happens when a real one gets tired of being hurt. They go silent, not weak, strategic, not broken, evolved. They underestimated you because they only saw the surface. They never saw what was forming underneath, the hunger, the grit, the decision that enough was enough. You see, people don't respect what's easy. They don't value what's always available. And you gave too freely. You loved too loudly. You forgave too quickly. That's over now. From here on, they earn access. They earn your energy. They earn your time. You've learned the difference between attention and effort, between words and consistency, between I'm sorry and I'll never let it happen again. You learned the price of peace, and you're not letting it go for cheap anymore. That means no more over-explaining, no more reaching out first, no more fixing what they keep breaking. Let them sit in the silence. Let them miss the old you. Because the new you doesn't play those games, doesn't beg, doesn't chase. And oh, they'll remember you when their world starts falling apart, when they realize the people around them only came for the benefits, not the burdens, when they need realness, but all they find is noise. That's when your ghost will visit, not to haunt them, but to remind them of what they had, of who you were, of how they could have had everything if they just knew how to hold it. Regret doesn't come with sirens. It comes with stillness. And when the world goes quiet around them, your name will scream in their head. Not because you yelled, but because you left. And don't be surprised when they try to circle back. They always do. When they realize the grass was only greener because you watered it. When the fun wears off and the masks slip. When they start craving something real again, but find out the door's been shut, sealed, and burned. That's when it stings the most. Not when they lost you, but when they realized they'll never get another version of you again. You were the lesson, the wake-up call, the reality check. And it's your silence that'll echo louder than any revenge ever could. Because you didn't have to destroy them. You just had to disappear. And here's the part that really cuts deep. They never thought you'd leave. That's why they kept pushing, kept lying, kept testing how far they could go before you'd finally snap. They thought you were soft, thought your silence meant surrender, thought your loyalty was weakness. But they were wrong, dead wrong. Your silence was strategy, your loyalty was principle, and your softness, that was discipline, holding back the chaos you could have unleashed, choosing peace when you had every right to go nuclear. They thought you wouldn't walk away because you always came back. But this time you didn't just walk. You vanished. No warning, no message, no breakdown. Just gone, like you were never there. And now the absence is suffocating them in ways your presence never could. They scroll through their contacts, but no name hits the same. They sit with people, but no soul reaches them like yours did. They laugh, but it's hollow. They love, but it's transactional. Because you weren't just someone they talked to. You were someone who understood. You were sanctuary, a rare breed in a world full of replicas. But they were so busy chasing the loud, the temporary, the shiny, that they threw away the gold for glitter. And now, the glitter's fading, fast. Now they see what they had, when it's no longer there to hold them. That's the curse of real love. It doesn't beg to be remembered. It haunts by default. And don't you dare think you were the fool. Don't you dare call yourself naive for believing, for loving, for giving your all. You were brave. You had the guts to care in a world that mocks feelings. You had the courage to stay loyal in a time where most people only stay until it's no longer convenient. You gave something sacred, your sincerity, and they weren't ready for it. That's not your fault. That's on them. They had a real one and treated you like an option. Now, they'll spend years trying to fill the void with people who don't even come close. And every time they fail, they'll remember you. That's not revenge, that's reality. But you've got bigger things to do now. You're building, you're healing, you're moving in silence. No need to post it, no need to prove it. Let your progress be the shadow they can never outrun. Let your glow be the light they can't look at without feeling the sting of what they lost. And yeah, some days you'll feel that ache, that little voice that says, maybe they'll come back different. Don't fall for it. Some people don't change. They just adapt their lies. Don't lower your standards for someone who couldn't even meet your bare minimum. You've tasted betrayal. You've seen how sweet words can rot. You've earned the right to protect your peace like a vault. This version of you, it's not angry. It's not bitter. It's educated. It's built from scars, stitched with silence, and fueled by every time they made you feel like you weren't enough. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be unshakable. You're not chasing closure. You are the closure. You're the reason they'll think twice next time they try to play with someone's soul. Because not everyone gives chances like you did. Not everyone loves through the chaos. You were the storm and the shelter. And now that you've left, they're stuck with the rain and no roof. So keep going, keep rising, and never shrink again for people who never saw your worth. They'll regret it, quietly, slowly, eternally. But you'll be too far ahead for them to reach, too evolved for them to understand, to at peace, to care. Because you were never the problem. You were the proof. You know what they'll never admit? That they saw it. They knew who you were from the start. They recognized the depth, the heart, the way your presence carried weight without noise. They just didn't think you'd ever wake up. They counted on your loyalty to trap you, on your kindness to weaken you, on your silence to keep you obedient. And they used that until you finally opened your eyes. And when you did, you didn't scream. You didn't burn the bridge. You didn't send paragraphs or fight for clarity. Number, you left quietly. And that silence, that's louder than any goodbye they've ever heard. Because it said one thing. I saw everything, and I'm done pretending I didn't. And now, that quiet eats at them every day, even if they're smiling, even if they're surrounded, because fake peace doesn't last. Eventually, the masks slip, the noise fades, and the mirror reflects the truth. That they had someone who was all in, someone who stayed when it got ugly, someone who listened when they didn't even know how to speak, and they took that for granted, thought it would last forever, that they could keep testing your limits and you'd still be there. But everything has a breaking point, even the strongest heart. And now that you're gone, they'll chase echoes. They'll scan every crowd hoping to see your eyes. They'll replay memories like broken records. But it won't bring you back. Because this time, you're not looking over your shoulder. You're not leaving breadcrumbs. You're not hoping they catch up. You've seen the truth, and that truth made you dangerous. Not the kind of dangerous that hurts people. The kind that can't be manipulated anymore. The kind that stops apologizing for existing. The kind that sits in silence and watches the world try to figure out how they lost you. Because they didn't just lose someone who loved them. They lost someone who believed in them. And belief is rarer than love. Belief stays when feelings fade. Belief is what lifts people when they're low, what carries them when they've lost all sense of self. And they had that in you. And they threw it away like it was nothing. Now, they'd sell pieces of their soul just to feel that belief again. But don't turn around. That version of you, the one who begged, the one who hoped, the one who waited by the phone, is gone, dead, and buried under every disappointment they ever handed you. You're not bitter, you're reborn. And from now on, everything you give is earned. Your time, your energy, your words, your love. It's not a charity anymore. It's a privilege. And if someone wants access to you, they better come with more than stories. They better come with actions, because you've outgrown the fantasy. You've walked through fire, and now you carry flames in your eyes. They can't play with you anymore without getting burned. And they'll try. Oh, they'll test the waters. Drop a hay after months of silence. Pretend nothing happened. Act like they didn't gut you while smiling to your face. But you're not falling for it. Not this time. Because peace taught you something. Pain never could. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table, especially not the ones who showed up only when they were hungry and vanished when it was your turn to eat. This version of you doesn't do crumbs, doesn't beg, doesn't wait. You build alone. You rise alone. You win alone. And when they finally realize what they lost, you'll be long gone, untouchable, unavailable, and unbothered. Because the final form of healing, it's not revenge. It's not even silence. It's indifference. It's waking up one day and realizing you don't care anymore. Not about what they think. Not about what they do. Not about what they lost. You just don't care. And that's the peace they'll never have. Because while you were healing, they were hiding. While you were growing, they were ghosting. And while you were building a new world, they were destroying bridges. Now they're stuck on an island of regret, watching you sail away, and realizing the ship they set on fire was the only one that ever loved them.